One match. That's all it took. 90 minutes into the 2026 World Cup, and the tournament already had its first casualty. Gone, just like that. This has never happened before, not once in the entire 96-year history of this competition. And if you assume this was some rash overreaction to a single bad night in Mexico, you're missing everything that had already been unraveling behind closed doors. Set the scene. Sunday evening, Estadio Monterrey in Guadalupe. Tunisia's opening match of the World Cup against Sweden. It was a massacre. Final score, Sweden 5, Tunisia 1. Sweden's attack sliced through Tunisia's backline like it wasn't there. Alexander Isak scored. Victor Gyökeres scored. Matthias Svanberg scored. One of the most lopsided results in Tunisia's World Cup history. But here's the detail that really twisted the blade. One of the two-goal scorers was a young player named Yassine Ayari. He's not just any Swedish forward. His father was born in Tunisia. A son of Tunisian heritage put 2 goals past the country his own father came from. You couldn't script a more punishing opening night. Afterward, Sabri Lamouchi stood before the cameras and called it painful. His exact words, "We are shooting ourselves in the foot. We are hurting ourselves." He had no idea how accurate that would turn out to be, because within 24 hours, he was out of a job. On the surface, firing a coach after one match looks reckless, even irrational. But pull back the curtain, and the picture shifts entirely, because Lamouchi was already on borrowed time before he'd even landed in Mexico. Start with the record. This wasn't a respected manager who stumbled on one rough night. Across his entire tenure with Tunisia, he won exactly 1 match out of 5. 1. A single 1-0 victory over Haiti. That's the whole resume. And the pre-tournament form was a disaster in its own right. Tunisia lost 1-0 to Austria. Then, the result that really triggered alarm bells got obliterated 5-0 by Belgium. 2 warm-up matches, 0 goals scored, 6 conceded. Whispers of unrest inside the camp started right there. But the results were only part of the story. The real crisis was happening in the dressing room, and it was already smoldering. Watch the Sweden match closely and it's visible. In the 72nd minute, with Tunisia being dismantled, Lamouchi pulled off defender Yohan Benalouin. Benalouin didn't hide his reaction. He stormed off clearly furious with his own manager, Liv, in front of the entire world. When your own players are visibly seething at you mid-match at a World Cup, that relationship is already finished. Then there's the detail that really shows how deep the dysfunction ran. According to reports from inside camp, Lamouchi brought his own son into Tunisia's World Cup training base. The federation wasn't pleased. Officials reportedly wanted an explanation for why someone outside the official delegation had access to the squad, and pressed Lamouchi to justify it. Think about that. Before a ball had even been kicked at this World Cup, the manager and the people who employed him were already locked in a dispute over trust. Players were turning on him. The federation was suspicious of him. The results were already collapsing. Sweden didn't cause the firing. It was simply the match that lit a fuse that had been burning for weeks. Here's where it gets even wilder. Lamouchi just carved his name into the World Cup record books for all the wrong reasons. In the entire history of the tournament, no manager had ever been dismissed after just a single match. Coaches have absolutely been fired at World Cups before, but never this quickly. Back in 1998, Tunisia sacked Henrik Kasperczak after a rough start, but they still gave him 2 matches first. That same tournament, South Korea dismissed Cha Bumkuan after 2 losses. And in 2018, Spain famously fired Julen Lopetegui 2 days before the tournament even began, after he secretly agreed to join Real Madrid behind the federation's back. But axed after 1 single game? Never happened. Until now, Lamouchi is the first. And here's the twist. This isn't even the first coaching change Tunisia has made this year. Back in January, they dismissed Sami Trabelsi after crashing out of the Africa Cup of Nations against Mali. Lamouchi was brought in as his replacement. He'd signed a contract through 2028. He lasted 5 months. This federation doesn't hesitate. It doesn't wait things out. It swings the axe immediately. So do you call to put out a 5-alarm fire in the middle of a World Cup? Tunisia turned to one of football's most compelling characters, Hervé Renard. Even if the name doesn't register, The image probably does. The silver-haired Frenchman famous for pacing the touchline in a crisp white shirt is now making history of his own, taking charge of a third different nation across 3 consecutive World Cups: Morocco in 2018, Saudi Arabia in 2022, and now Tunisia in 2026. That Saudi Arabia run is the one worth remembering. In 2022, Renord's Saudi side pulled off one of the greatest shocks in World Cup history, beating Lionel Messi's eventual champion Argentina in their opening match. So if there's anyone on earth equipped to step into chaos and pull off a miracle, it's him. He's flying into Monterrey to take charge of a wounded, shaken squad with almost no preparation time. Warby Kasri, the former Sunderland player who served as Lamucci's assistant, is staying on to work under Renord. The problem: Tunisia's group is brutal. Japan is next, followed by the Netherlands. Renord has to stop the bleeding immediately against 2 of the tournament's strongest sides, with a dressing room that just watched its manager get fired. Good luck indeed. Now I want your take. Was this a bold, decisive call? Or did Tunisia just panic and torch their own tournament before it even got going? Did the players push him out? Leave your verdict in the comments. And subscribe, because we're only 5 days into this World Cup and it's already devouring coaches. Trust me, this won't be the last one. See you in the next one.